Right. Well, hey there. Hope you are doing well this fine day, wherever you are. Be it, sunny, rainy, shiny, or snowy. Be possible, although I guess it is July now. It's a Canada thing. Anyway, today we're here to talk about the new stuff that is coming to Global this week, which is, in fact, a character as well as a new Dark VC and Esper. But I do believe the Dark VC and Esper, let me just double check. Yeah, starting on the 12th, so a little bit later for that one. But it's okay. We'll talk about Dialdo, we'll talk about the BC, and we'll talk about the fact that if you didn't watch my video yesterday, you know that Earth isn't my particular favorite element. And on an account with Elemental Mastery and having only certain characters and sometimes just letting an element slide, it's totally fine to just be like, personally, this character, the VC, everything that we're essentially talking about today, from my side, is just not worth it. But I'm going to give an honest shake for other people. And Dialdo is and has kind of just proven his worth on JP. He does have, how do I say this? How do I want to say like, he's good. He is really, really good in specific parties and specific cases and on maps. All of these things, like, he is the Earth Elemental 100 cost tank. And that is always a valuable role, especially for people who are the Earth Elemental people. They love Earth characters. They like everything Earth has going on. And this character is cool. I mean, partially crystallized and kind of weird and mysterious and a void character. All of that stuff is particularly pretty neat. And this guy is a cool design. Before he came out, I was kind of hoping he would be like light element to balance out Wrath, but he ended up being, earth element, and there he has found a home and a spot. So from what I can see, this character doesn't seem to have any particular upgrades, at least from initial news on, well, in app kind of thing. He is a festival limited character, and that is something to be reminded with the fact that we do have a 90 cost VC coming that directly benefits him. This is a double cost character in the sense that it can be pretty expensive to get him, VC, and everything maxed in this rough short span that he does come. Now, he is a good defensive character. He's a magic spear character, and that makes him pretty appealing to a lot of people just because he is something that is so different from a lot of other stuff that we see constantly. We see a lot of slashing based characters, and even magical and physical slash characters aren't really that rare in any, but a magic spear is kind of rare, and that does earn him points of just being something special, something cool, and something different. You look at this character, it does have the option of either being a little bit more brawler or a little bit more just defensive, and defensive is probably the way you want to go. And sort of like things like piercing damage, reduced counter, dispel abilities, absorb. This is a tank that really focuses more on the healing aspect and outlasting damage rather than the just straight re-raise, immortal spirit, ignore fatal damage kind of thing. This character does kind of work a little bit more on that, on this other aspect, just with more chain resistance, being more durable, but still having a particularly pretty good way of generating hate. All these things work together for him being pretty good and being able to support Earth Elemental characters. As for Kotodama and Red Mage, both are generally pretty good sub-jobs to have. Kotodama has 100% hit chance, as well as some stun application, where Red Mage can dispel all ailments as well, except for charm, slow stop, blah blah blah. And here you also have dispel auto revive, so this character can do a multitude of things. Mostly what you're looking at here, if you're looking for this character, is just a defensive character. And from my side, he really hasn't excelled as much as a character like Raph. Raph came out on JP and was such a tour de force for Dark that it really did push Dark into stratosphere, and I just never felt that with Dialdo. So it's good to see that, at least with the VC that is coming with this character, Dark Golem, it is kind of a nice little upgrade for Dialdo in an inadvertent way. And this isn't like anything unexpected, but it is nice to see. You look at it, and Earth and Ice elemental characters are getting attack resistance up, defense up, and acquired AP up, with max HP bestowed on the bestowed character. As for limited bestowed effects, lightning resistance up and unit attack resistance, I do think goes a longer way to convincing people that this VC is potentially worth getting, either now or down the line. Like, it is a very defensive card, and it can work very well for both Ice and Earth, and potentially some combination in the future if that really is possible in a great way. So far, I would say no, but never say never. We never multi-elemental things could become more future, so maybe it's worth keeping an eye. But my big takeaway is that this is not a, how would I say, a half measure character in VC. You kind of need to go in on all of it and be pretty confident, have pretty high confidence that you can see a future with this character, since it is such a heavy investment. You're looking at throwing the Magicite towards the Dark Esper, getting all of him to get him upgraded really quickly. You're looking at upgrading the VC so that you can push this more defensive agenda that you want, potentially with King Bradley, potentially with Melny in the future, but definitely pushing more of that defensive option is what you're wanting. And as for the character himself, of course, you have to pull him half rates for these 90 cost and 100 cost characters, which I shouldn't need to tell people, but just in case, it can be brutal sometimes. So you have to be fully prepared that this is the way you want to go, this is the way that you are committing to, and there just isn't much flexibility here. It's not like you can kind of skip one and the other. Because if you're really looking at another Earth Magic VC or another Tank VC, yeah, you can get by with a tank, but Dark Golem is just such a high amount of defense, potentially, missile resistance for blocking a lot of that long range damage, human resistance as well, which is kind of the unique thing here that is omnipotent against multiple units and makes Dark Golem really quite special. I don't think the Dark Golem is the most essential. As a matter of fact, if we remember a while ago talking about Dark Bahamut, I said that Dark Bahamut was really for people who wanted a really strong strike aspect. Because Odin and Chaos Odin, if you already have them, you're pretty much good for offensive espers, at least for people who aren't super tryhards. For this case, Dark Golem is not as much of an upgrade over some other tanks, but he does have incredibly strong synergy with Dialdo, which is, kind of the topic of this video. And is Dialdo worth it? That depends. I mean, he is a limited time character, so this is essentially your best shot at him. You can potentially push Dark Golem much later on, but I think overall your performance will hurt a little bit because you're really wanting that defensive, and this is just the most optimal card him to be running to just be very strong. So is there anything else really worth talking about? Dialdo is essentially more of a physical defensive character. Earth elemental characters potentially could be comboed with ice because of the VC here, but not necessarily the best route, and as of right now doesn't seem like anybody on JP has done this all that much, which means that it's more theoretical, and if someone on global wants to try it, but haven't really enough data to say that it would be successful, and I don't think it will be. So that I think is it for this video. Not too terribly long, but you kind of know, people know what they're getting into in terms of cost per character. And especially when these 100 costs roll around, you know, sometimes it's a little bit easier if there's a 70 cost VC because it's just easier to get. There's a guarantee. It's much cheaper. And this, yeah, you can pull 10 Dialdos with 2k Lapis. But if you do, make sure you leave a comment with proof and that it's not faked. Otherwise, we will hunt you down. Who's that we? I don't know. I'm just trying to end it. Thanks so much for watching. Here, and see you in the future.